Hi, my name is Ashley Boston. I'm doing my chapter review on Chapter 3, Foundations of Individual Behavior. I found this chapter to be extremely interesting just because it got my wheels turning, got me thinking of how we identify ourselves, how we connect to people, connectivity, whole bunch of nerdy stuff that kind of just put a smile on my face. So I was like, hey, why not Chapter 3? First, I'll start with the second slide of the PowerPoint jigsaw puzzle. Much like puzzles, you can associate that to people. How puzzles come together and connect in those intricate ways. The text actually makes reference to this. People come together in these intricate parts that make up the whole of who we are as people. Each person's puzzle, each person is unique to who they are. And I believe 3 points separate us all: our psychological nature, how we think, view the world, the elements that influence our behavior, maybe our environment, home, both work, both social, economical status, all those things, and how they influence our behavior, our attitudes. And lastly, our perception of things, our perception of people, our perception of situations and what we go through. Next, moving on, the psychological contract. In everyday life, we set expectations for certain things. More specifically, in an organizational structure, we set expectations for what we are willing to give as employees, what we give to our boss, what we say we bring to the table, but also we set expectations of what is going to be given in return to us for what we put out. We come to work every day to work hard, to get our job done, to prioritize, to multitask, to get the job done to the best of our abilities. Then we in return need to see our salary or our wages or maybe employee of the month, employee of the week, certain things like that in the give and take pull of these interactions. The perfect fit. Um, just thinking of when we apply to certain jobs, we usually apply to jobs that we already have a little experience in doing, or either maybe we worked in fast food or worked odd jobs while we put ourselves through school. Now I have this psychology degree or this criminal justice degree. I've never tried to psych someone or try to arrest someone in a citizen's arrest. But now I want to apply to be a police officer and try and get this job because I've obtained something that says I am now a perfect fit for this said job. And also, employers in turn look at that and say, well, during the interview process, I'm going to ask you certain questions to see if you are someone who is going to do this job well, who's going to be passionate about it. Maybe you have experience, maybe you don't, but there is something that is going to be signified and that is going to let me know that you will be a good fit or a perfect fit for this job. Difference of person, kind of play on difference of opinion. People are people. We are one of the most unique, amazing creations known to man. And how we work and how we think and how we see the world is so different from person to person. This is something that heavily affects the day-to-day runnings and operations of any organization. You need the people that work for you and run your day-to-day business operations to be able to come together collectively to get the job done, because we can't all do it by ourselves. If we could, we probably would. And it's not always easy to say, oh, okay, I can get the job done myself. Productivity and we need everything quick and fast, which is usually a benefit of having a team versus doing something singular. Lastly, our personalities. That old thing of called a personality clash, how sometimes we just don't connect with certain people. You have to be intellectually mature to say, hey, this might not be someone I'm going to go have a drink with after work, or maybe it is, so that we can try and have a meeting of the minds and figure out, maybe we had a clash, had a disagreement, but we got to figure out how we can work together so that we can get the job done. I apologize for the computer shaking. Next, moving on, the big five personality traits: neuroticism, openness, conscientiousness, agreeableness, and extroversion. These five different personality traits are kind of sum up how we all fall into these categories. We take them in different order and different amounts, but it all boils down to these big five. Ergo, they're called the big five. Um, that diagram is pretty self-explanatory. I really was like, oh, this is good. Let's use this when I found it. So peruse that. Take a minute to look at it. I did a little music for you. Doo 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 doo. I have no rhythm. Sorry, forgive me. Okay, moving to the next slide. The Myers-Briggs assessment. This was something that I wanted to point out because it's come up a lot in my academic career, in my business career, and different areas in my life. This test has presented itself, and one in particular that was very interesting was basically a Christian version of the Myers-Briggs, where you figure out what your specific ministry is, how you relate to people within your ministry, and how you can best mold yourself, influence yourself, motivate yourself to living your purpose and living your ministry. So I thought it was great to point that out, as it was mentioned in our text in chapter 3. I am an ENFJ. Forgive me if I'm kind of slow and having to look closely at the screen. I actually wear glasses, but I took them off because they had a glare and I didn't want you not to be able to see my face and understand what I'm saying. Please forgive me for any technical difficulties. I'm trying to work through this. But again, I'm an ENFJ protagonist. I really agree with everything, the breakdown of it, and don't know where you guys fall, but I think it'll be interesting to see, and hopefully you guys will share in the comments when you comment on the video where you fall in that spectrum. Moving right along, the motivational framework. This is very brief. I just wanted to touch briefly on the power of motivation. If we know what drives a person, what causes them to do what they do every day, to say, okay, I know I'm going to wake up tomorrow. Maybe I set my alarm to wake me up at 7 o'clock. I know I have to brush my teeth, take a shower, get dressed, make sure my hair is nice, go out into the world and do the job that I have been employed to do. If my employer then knows what drives Ashley every day, what makes her want to come to work and do a great job, then that employer is going to place things in my path and make the work environment to better serve me, or at least they should, so that I in turn will better serve that organization. An unmet need will either drive a person to underserve, to underperform, or it will then drive a person to figure out better ways to get the job done so that they don't feel like their needs are not being met. Lastly, I'll leave you with the big question: personality, attitudes, and perception. What is that driving force? What is that big thing, singular in one word or in a sentence, that makes it hard or easy for us to relate to people of different personalities, different backgrounds, different attitudes, and how we perceive how we relate, and how you would say someone else perceives how you relate? Thank you so much for watching my video, and I hope it wasn't too choppy. Thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing your presentations as we go along in the course.